Timesheets show one highly paid public employee is claiming he's in two places at one time.
Yeah, in the months following Hurricane Ida, the city of Kenner paid one employee $86,000 in disaster pay. But in our new investigation, we dug into Chad Pitfield's timesheets. That research raises questions about what work he's actually doing. No other parish or entity has done that.
Maybe they don't have a Chad Pitfield.
Kenner Mayor Ben Zahn says no other parish or city has an employee with the work ethic of his deputy chief administrative officer. In the 4 months following Hurricane Ida, Zahn had no hesitation paying Chad Pitfield $86,000 in disaster pay. His total pay last year, nearly $230,000.
Do you believe that Chad works all the hours he says he does?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if the people that I have surrounded myself in my administration that I've chosen, I trust that what they're turning in is absolutely correct.
But our review of records shows that might be incorrect.
This is very distressing, Lee.
October 22nd, about 8 weeks after Hurricane Ida made landfall, City of Kenner records show Pitfield worked a 14-hour day, 7 in the morning until 9 at night, 2,100 hours. In addition to working for Kenner, Pitfield also volunteers as a reserve deputy for the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office. On that same day, October 22nd, reserve timesheets show Pitfield spent 4 hours at the DA's office prepping for a trial. The records indicate Pitfield worked on that trial from noon until 4. During the same time period, Kenner paid him for those 4 hours of work, where he told the city he made street assessments for debris collection.
If I was living in the city of Kenner and I'm paying taxes in Kenner to operate the city of Kenner's government, I'm saying, who's watching the store here? This is money just going out the door because nobody is paying attention.
For that reserve commitment, Pitfield's timesheet shows he spent 4 hours in training, what's called Block 2 training, beginning at 8 a.m. on November 15th. But Kenner timesheet showed during that same 4-hour block, Pitfield reviewed debris reports and did street assessments. Pitfield essentially alleging he was in two places at one time.
Yeah, and the Block 2 training is something specific at our academy. He would have had an appointment for that. We verified that he completed that training, so he was here at 8 a.m. To do that training on that particular date. So that you know, again, you shouldn't have a conflict of those times between his Kenner time and that. Again, I haven't seen the Kenner records, but I don't deny that they probably exist for him.
You want me to show them to you?
Yeah, I mean, this is a log that I've seen, and it doesn't, you know, it's a handwritten log that shows that time, and there's certainly a conflict on it, and that's certainly something that they should be addressing.
When we interviewed Kenner Mayor Ben Zahn, we wanted to show him our findings.
Does it concern you if that's the case?
Oh, absolutely would concern me, but I have not seen something that's contrary to what I believe. So if you have something to show to us, then that would be a different story.
Do you want me to show? I mean, I can show it to you.
Have you shown it to the sheriff?
I have not yet.
Okay, well, I'd rather the sheriff weigh in on that first, because that's bringing the sheriff of Jefferson Parish into it and JPSO, and I'd like to see what he says first.
Is it concerning to you that this paperwork shows that it could potentially be doing two things at one time?
Lee, it's like anything. The human beings can make mistakes. You know, I look for a pattern, right? And so if there's a pattern where we have several times that are really, you know, look like double dipping, there's an issue. You know, is that date right? I know that I get dates wrong in my calendar all the time when I'm plugging them into my phone. That's something that he's got to address. I mean, it's not something that should be overlooked by any means, but there's certainly a conflict on the papers.
We found more irregularities when we matched Pitfield's timesheets to his Jefferson Parish records. Pitfield has a swipe card for access to some Jefferson Parish Sheriff buildings. On the 26th of November, Pitfield's swipe card was used to enter the Academy parking gate at 14:16 or 2:16 in the afternoon. But Kenner records show the city paid Pitfield for work during that same time. But there's more. To help justify and track FEMA reimbursements following the storm, Kenner had employees fill out these forms. The employees sign off on the accuracy of each one. Here's how the city's chief financial officer explained the process.
Do the employees fill that out every day, once a week? They fill out for the week? How does that work?
So typically they would fill it out every day as long as they are doing, responding to the storm. Any type of work that is directly related to the storm, they would definitely track that. just so that they can submit that to us, for reimbursement.
So typically, if an employee works at the end of the day, they mark their time and then they send it to you?
Yes, correct. It goes to a specific email where we can track, collect them all, and then they're filed.
But I guess my point is, you're fairly confident that the forms are accurate because they're submitting them each day right after.
Correct.
The reserve duties for the sheriff allows Pitfield to work paid details. Pitfield worked a detail at Lafreniere Park on November 7th from 6 until 10 at night. But his Kenner records show he did street and streetlight assessments during that entire detail. On November 21st, similar finding, detail from 6 until 10 at night. During the same time, he reviewed debris plans and maps. After we raised these questions with the mayor, we received an email 24 hours later that the forms had a clerical error with the date. Corrections had been made and initialed in the document. An unnamed person crossed out November 7th and replaced it with November 3rd, and November 21st became November 25th. That means instead of working on the 21st, Pitfield is now alleging he worked for 5 hours on Thanksgiving night during the entire Saints game.
That's more than coincidental, Lee. You know what they say, if it quacks like a duck and it walks like a duck, it probably is a duck.
The questions with Pitfield's schedule don't stop with Kenner. We found irregularities when we matched some paid details with his Jefferson Parish Sheriff swipe card. On November 14th, Pitfield worked a 4-hour detail at the park, 1,800 to 2,200 hours, 6 to 10 at night. But at 7:53, Pitfield's card was swiped at the sheriff's office gate, 5 miles away at 3300 Metairie Road. We even found an example before Ida, July 25th. Pitfield worked that same 6 to 10 detail at Lafreniere Park. The last hour of his shift, his card was swiped to enter the front door of the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office, far away from Lafreniere Park, again while being paid to work a detail. Days after we started asking questions, Pitfield resigned from his JPSO duties, effective at the end of this week. Tulane law professor Joel Friedman says this story raises the question, what did Kenner actually receive for the $86,000 in disaster pay that hit one employee's bank account?
There's no accountability here. I'll bet there's nobody in the CFO's office that actually looks at these things. They just get them and they pay. Because if they looked at them, they'd say, gee, he wrote down on, September 19th that he did this. He wasn't here doing that. But they don't.
Pitfield stopped receiving disaster pay the day after our first story aired.